What is this?
Why would you show that? What is that?
Benito Mo! Pops.
See your flags. I rock with them.
He said he got to represent.
Yeah, both sides.
Duality.
I don't even think I actually did my intro. What's good, y'all? What's going on, everybody? Stephen Qualls II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy. And we are back with another episode of the Wright Quality Podcast. But yeah, the NFL season is officially over now. We'll be back to talk about things when the draft happens and when free agency opens up, of course. But for the time being, we're going to move to another league where things are, as Ashley would love to say, getting juicy. Things getting very juicy on the NBA side of things. And we'll start with this year's trade deadline because I don't know about y'all, but this one was just pretty random. I mean, I think there are some moves that speak more to kind of the future of the league and where things seem to be heading. So they aren't terrible and they aren't completely out of left field, but just odd. It just felt like GMs was really doing whatever this trade deadline. But in general, before we kind of get into some of the trades, what are y'all's overall impression of this year's trade deadline? What are your knee-jerk reactions to it?
Random is the word I would use to describe this year's deadline. A lot of teams doing things that I think didn't make sense.
Mhm.
Clippers.
Um, yeah, those are my thoughts right now.
My word is going to be boneless. This is a boneless and
Boneless.
trade.
That's a good word. You not feeling boneless?
Hey, what?
It was
Hold
there's substance. It's there. Did I want it? No.
Hmm.
hold on,
Like
hold.
trade deadline, bone in wings.
Wait. You said
Huh?
Last year's deadline, bone in. This year, I got to play the boneless wings.
You got some chicken nuggets.
You know what? I'm glad this came up because first of all, I definitely agree and I love the analogy. But two, given that we just talked about the Super Bowl and people had Super Bowl parties and carrying on, there was somebody who was going to bring all boneless wings to the Super Bowl party. And me, I just can't fathom, right? Like by choice, by preference, I'm not going to choose to just have boneless.
I
If
don't think they understand that the bone contains flavor. They see it as an obstacle to get around. No, that is a flavor holder at the base. At its
bone, oh,
core.
absolutely.
What do we? I need. There needs to be something tangible. You just sent me a
Right.
bunch of riffraff and shenanigans and told me that I'm supposed to make something work out of this. Like, no, you sent me. You sent me who? Nikola Vucevic for Anthony Simons, who just got to. Yeah, like I. It's just a whole bunch of air that we're dealing with, and I'm just like, what am I?
Hey,
What
but we don't like the Vucevic trade.
I think it makes sense. I'm
it
not
does?
I
Like
don't
it.
like it per se for Boston more so. I think it kind of it speaks more so to the confusion of what Chicago is doing. But
Mm.
we can start there. This is a good starting point. The Vucevic Simons trade is a good starting point. One, very impressed by Boston. Somehow, some way, they always seem to make a move that just seems to really fit what they need at the given point in time. Like I think not that maybe if you're Boston, you think you want a more athletic big, potentially. But Vucevic, outside of maybe the defensive aspects, gives you a good portion of what, Porzingis did. So, like, it's not as much of a defensive anchor, but it still gives you a solid big to really round out the other pieces of that starting five, of course. And so I like it. I was kind of surprised Boston didn't utilize Simons more. And I don't know if it's because they never saw him in their long-term plans anyway, but it just kind of confused me that he didn't have more of a role given, how much of a proven scorer he is, which is why the trade to Chicago also is a bit confusing, only because their team is 75% point guards at this point. So I don't know what their plan is either.
They
Um,
don't know.
you said what?
They don't know either.
Right. Who knows what they're doing? But But yeah, I don't think it's a bad trade. I guess I'm just a little bit surprised that Chicago did it really, but maybe they're committing to maybe blowing things up. Again, I don't know what Chicago's committed to, but good move for Boston. It'll definitely help them in their push as they're doing much better than I think people expected them to be doing this season. So
Mhm.
shall be interested to see how it pans out. Um, what was the other trade that probably got the biggest reaction out of you all? I think for me it was probably the Jaren trade. That really was left field for me. But ironically, I kind of get it for Utah. Like I kind of see what they're trying to work toward. I mean, I'm not saying it's a guarantee. I'm not saying it excites me per se, but I see the vision, in regard to why Utah would want to do it. I'm just surprised Memphis went ahead and moved him if they weren't for certain they were going to move Ja, because now it just feels like a soft reset or rebuild.
Yeah.
So that's a bit confusing. But yeah, what did y'all think about that one?
Yeah, it was weird because you've got Markkanen, you've got Walker Kessler. You're kind of big, heavy already in the front court. Um, but when I think of also the guards that they have, I like Isaiah Collier. I like Keontae George, obviously. So it kind of starts to make a little sense. I'm just interested more in how all of these games connect together or flow. Because Jaren Jackson, he's not that type of big that's he can't rebound. I mean, he's averaging what, less than 6 rebounds a night. But you do have Walker Kessler, you do have Laurie Markin, and so maybe that's where they can complement his game. But yeah, I'm just interested in seeing how this all flows and meshes. Maybe they're not done, and obviously the deadline's the deadline. So maybe we'll see more action into the off season. But yeah, the rest of the season, the rest of the way, I'll definitely have my eyes on them. They are a fun young team on paper. So to just see how they can coexist will be interesting.
They're winning their last game, and then the commander said, "None of my starters are playing the fourth quarter."
So
So
I'm curious, like if a team like Utah that has made a move like this, that obviously is moving toward their future, but they're still kind of like, we still want to see if we can get a decent like draft pick or like lottery pick this year. I'm not so. I mean, I'm not surprised, right? But yeah, kind of to what Ashley said, I'm curious as to how it will look, and I guess I'm also curious, Ashley, what do you think is a move that if you saw them make, you would kind of be more, oh, okay, I'm starting to see the vision a little bit more.
Honestly, maybe moving off of one of those bigs, maybe you flip Walker Kessler into an athletic wing. Because I already think that Laurie can complement the lack of Jaren assertiveness.
Yeah.
So you don't have to keep Walker Kessler if you don't want him. And so having a wing will better, in my mind, feel like, okay, there is a direction here.
Hmm.
Who that wing is, I don't know. He could also be young.
Yeah. Utah seems committed to Lori. Whether Lori really wants to be in Utah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But Utah seems committed to him. And I say that to say, I'm wondering if, because I don't know if I want to have Jaren play in my five. To your point about rebound,
Exactly.
I think I'd much rather have him play the four. So and it's weird because Utah also has Nurkic, but with Nurkic being on the tail end of his prime career, whatever you want to consider it, I don't think they commit to him long term the same way they would Kessler. But I think Laurie has the higher trade value anyway. So I'm wondering if they would move off of Laurie to bring in somebody who they thought might fit that core a little better in one shape, form, or fashion. But I see your point about moving off of one of those two front court players, because the young backcourt is coming together really nicely. And I think
Yeah.
Ace is actually coming on better as the season continues to go on. So I think Ace will be a really good piece for them moving forward too in the backcourt. So
But see, I feel like if you move on from Laurie, you're kind of making Grizzlies 2.0.
Good point.
you know.
Point.
So I just don't trust Jaren as like that piece. He's a 1B guy, regardless of where he is.
He's a two. I don't even. Well, I mean,
Or yeah.
I guess maybe depending on the team or environment, but really, he's a two. Honestly, probably a three, probably a third option.
Yeah, like he's
On a
not somebody.
contender, he's probably your third option. That like I'm
Yeah,
comfortable with that as a
yeah.
contender. So
Like I'm not building around him per se.
correct, correct. Um, but yeah, we'll move back. Well, I mean, this was a trade between East and Western team, but probably another trade that really intrigued me the most. The Harden for Garland trade. I'm not surprised at, but I didn't see coming. I guess because I really didn't see Harden wanting out, even though I guess it's kind of surprising not to expect Harden to want out at some point in time. Um, and I'm not surprised that Garland got moved from Cleveland because I feel like anybody from that core, it was likely gonna be him. But yeah, thoughts about Harden and Cleveland because these are two different scenarios. So Harden goes to Cleveland where Cleveland's still seen as a contender in the East, right? And for all intents and purposes, I guess Harden is seen as an upgrade, to Garland, all things considered. But Garland goes to a Clippers team that was playing extremely well before, Harden requested this trade, and you have Kawhi return into an all-star form. But I don't think Garland moves the needle for the Clippers to make them a more competitive team in the West. So that could look different if things change this offseason. But yeah, thoughts on this trade. I guess more specifically for this season, if we're looking at maybe Cleveland is having a better chance at, getting further than the Clippers do.
Okay. Makes sense because availability is the best ability. And with how often Garland is out, it's just like, bruh, like there is no chance to see what a healthy Cavs team would look like. So I kind of understand it from that perspective. And then I don't necessarily think the drop off or it's kind of like a win-win situation in terms of talent. Like Harden, Garland, straight up across the board. I don't think you're missing much if you're either team, trading for the other.
Yeah.
Um, it's gonna be a great regular season look for the Cavs. I hope Harden can do something in the postseason, but we've never seen him do it. So it just remains to be seen. However, I will say from that standpoint, it does make sense.
Yeah, I'm not like I said, I'm not surprised at the move. And ultimately, if I'm Cleveland, I get I get going to get a James Harden. If he's on the table and wants to come somewhere, like wants to come to Cleveland, I do it. And again, it's all gonna come down to playoffs. And it's like for this team and for this player, both of y'all have to prove the same thing. So it'll be very curious. I'm very curious to see how it'll go. But it's interesting because the star players seem to understand. Well, the players and the front office. So like I think the front office, James Harden, like Donovan Mitchell, they understand that like this year, maybe next year, like this is the window, right? Like this is the time we have to figure out if this roster can make something happen or can actually compete. So, I mean, if I'm James Harden, I still think Philly probably was like his best shot in terms
Mhm.
of roster. But
Rocket 3 was
well,
close.
well, yes, I'm more so I'm thinking past that roster
After,
era.
yeah.
Like, yeah. But I would dare to say having a running mate like Spider, he's had some great running mates before, don't get me wrong, but Spider's in his prime right now and has been playing well and always turns it up in the playoffs. So like Harden may not have to be that number one contributor. Maybe that relieves a little bit of pressure, but you got a decent roster. You got, the right pieces around a player like Harden to begin with. So so um, so yeah, it'll be in there in the East. And so I think that for an East that's practically wide open,
He doesn't have to be number one, two. He can be three. You've still got Evan Mobley. You still have Jared Allen.
What do you
So,
mean?
not
He
saying
is
Jared
the
Allen is
system.
going
he can.
He is the system.
I
What do you
think
mean?
if Harden commits to being a point guard for this team, which we've seen him do, so I'm not saying that as a challenge, but like if he's able to commit to that, understanding what's around him and understanding the opportunity in front of him. Interesting playoffs indeed. It's a wide open conference, man. So we'll see.
It is wide open. And I want to say this is his best. Oh, sorry, Miguel.
No, after you.
No, I was just gonna say, I want to say this is his best shot in a long time.
I agree.
That's Philly. Now that they have they don't just have one person I don't trust in the playoffs. They have two.
So you
Who
don't
else don't you
Mobley.
trust?
I'm assuming Mobley.
No.
Who don't
Donovan?
trust in the playoffs?
Remember, I said I do not trust a Donovan Mitchell-led team to lead.
Oh.
Okay. See, and that
No, and that's what I told you too, where it's like he balls. He'll put up 40 and whatever. And I was just saying last year where it's like, but he needs to have like a cozy 30 and like the other guys got to do something. Where it's like it's not necessarily something that's like this is his fault. It is just the fact of his teams in years past where it's like number one in Utah for how many years? Can't get over that hump. Cleveland being number one last year, shellacked. Like I don't know what it is, but something happens in the playoffs where they just catch a hot team. It was Indiana last year. It was the Celtics the year before. It's just something happens. I don't know what.
But is it the fact that Donovan has never had anyone next to him as reliable? Like I can't think of a second, I don't even have to say star, but a second teammate that has been reliable for him in
His
his entire
not
career.
offensively, not offensively.
Yeah, not offensively.
He's had great casts to soak up what he does offensively on the defense end. Whereas he's had a number one defense every time they've made it to the playoffs, it feels like, in Utah and in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But to your point, Ashley, I think having that offensive teammate to where if Donovan doesn't have to go for 30 or 40,
Exactly.
and maybe he can afford to also expend some more energy on the other side of the ball if he knows ideally he got another person that can at least give him 20.
Mm-hmm.
You would think at least 20 easily, and that's also depending on if Mobley takes another leap, especially in the postseason now. So again, it's all about taking advantage of the opportunity because it'll be there. Like I don't think there's any team there's no team in the East that I'm definitively taking over another for one reason or another. So that's the wide openness for me. But yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, Clippers, I don't know. Even if they do make the play in, I mean, you got Kawhi playing great, but we'll have to see how Garland fits right now. But like I said, I don't know if he makes them more dangerous than they already were. And even with how great they were playing, I don't know how much, people would have been willing to put on the Clippers making a deep run. It would all depend on how they looked kind of post All-Star break, close to the playoffs, et cetera. But yeah. Yeah, but that's pretty much that on that trade. Another big trade, Anthony Davis finally getting traded. Gets traded to the Wizards. I don't know what I was expecting. Well, I don't know what I was expecting in the Anthony Davis trade this year. Wasn't expecting him to go to the Wizards. Very intrigued by what the Wizards might have in mind based off of what they've done, what they've done this trade deadline. But yeah, for Dallas, I mean, talk about a fire sale. At this point, I mean, I guess I get what they're doing as well, and at this point, they're just essentially committing to building around Coop and getting assets to do so. Makes sense. Cut your losses. This just makes everybody revisit the last deadline and be like, what was the point? Like, if we're going to be here a year later, what was the point? And granted, Kyrie's injury changes a lot. We're not surprised that Anthony Davis got injured, but those injuries change a lot as well. So, yeah, thoughts on that trade and kind of what you think it means for both teams moving forward.
I was talking to Josh actually about this, and he brought up a really good point. He was like, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Kyrie at the deadline next year, on the chopping block, because what is really going on in Dallas? And then on the flip side, if AD can't stay healthy, it looks good on paper. I like Sar, Trey Young's out there. Champagnie has been balling lately, and he's out there now. And you add AD to the mix, but for me, this feels like Shaq to Boston. I just don't know if AD's. I don't know.
Shaq to Boston is crazy.
It does. I want to love AD so bad. and it's just like he makes it hard sometimes. If he can stay healthy, this team is fun. It is a fun team, but I don't think we'll see it this season. I think Trey will get some more DNPs so they can, just hit the lottery and set it off next season. But I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Tired.
Miguel's not moved. He's not impressed at all.
Who is moved? Like,
They traded Luca for Max Christie, a first in 2 seconds.
Basically.
yeah, yeah. And that door stop that you probably use for that door back there.
Broken.
Exactly. So the
AD.
broken door stop is AD.
Man, I think there's the words I have for the Dallas Mavericks owners. I mean,
Sell the
has
team.
anyone ever heard of the Hague? Have we heard of firing squads? Have we heard of the guillotine? There are a lot of different ways we can go about this. Those ghouls need to be arrested for malpractice. There is no other, you cannot convince me that it was a winning move. They want to save $300 million. They want to get out of Dallas, and they want to make a gambling arena. Somebody needs to do something. If I'm in Dallas, I'm committing some crime. I don't know what, but I'm doing something. I have Coop. Hooray. We're awful. We traded our only star since Dirk Nowitzki for Max Christie, a first rounder in 2 seconds, 2 expiring contracts, and 2 fake first round picks from the Washington Wizards that they even said they are not that good picks. They're
Yeah,
not.
it's something weird, right? Isn't it like if it's 2 through 9, Dallas gets it, but anything outside of that, Washington keeps it? Is that the scenario?
I'm not even sure. Regardless, yuck, yuck. Like it's just all bad. The Wizards, cool. Sure, like you built a nice defensive young roster around Trae Young. Washington needs something. They have a better game plan than Chicago and Sacramento outright. Go crazy. Dallas, I'm telling you, something needs to be done. Like I I'm this is not hyperbole. Like they are terrorists. Like if
Oh my God.
This is not hyperbole.
I am in the city of Dallas, I am finding every way possible that I can get a hold of a number and address. I
So you think that they're trying to build a gambling arena in Vegas?
Yes,
That's what I saw. Let
it's disgusting.
me find out you run that little page I came across on IG.
No, I'm aware, and it's not good because like I'm not even a Dallas fan, but I'm like it just sets a bad precedent. Giannis is on Kalshi. It's not good. We're in a bad state. I don't like what's going on in all fronts. LeBron is the leader of DraftKings. KD is the leader of FanDuel. Nothing can be trusted. It's a cesspool.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't agree with having current players on gambling commercials.
The
That's
Giannis thing is crazy because it's Kalshi of all of them. And I think that man put in a little word to say, I want to go somewhere else, affected the markets, had all of his homies back home be like, I'm not going anywhere. And then it's not good. I'm not trying to get my guy caught up either. All speculation. I have no basis to think this. It's not a good look. It's a horrible look. It's no bueno. There's our Duolingo for the day. We know that one.
yeah.
To go back to Dallas's predicament, they have Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and all
Derek
these
Lively.
and now. Well, I'm not including him because he's relatively young, but like a bunch of win now guys for a team that's not going to win now or later. So
Oh,
we need to do something this offseason to where everybody's gone, and you have the OKC and Portland rosters of like 2020 when it's like, who's on that team? They ran through how many players in a year? I need them to look like that for 1 to 2 if they're going to be serious. If they're going to keep all these guys on decently good contracts to play non-winning basketball, send those two to Guantanamo Bay. Like, I can't. It's just bad basketball. It's bad product. And they are selling tickets for more money. Criminals. Oh my God.
This is one of the better McGill rants.
Any local artists in Dallas want it.
Because nothing he said was out of pocket.
It really wasn't. It was a very valid rant. Very.
See, we give credit when credit's due.
Squad and Guillotine are a bit much, but they're also billionaires that are from Vegas that are two scumbags. Pack them out. Get them out. I could not.
Get him out here. Yeah, no, it's a lot of weird behavior, a lot of weird activity, especially with that organization. The trade doesn't help, and Coop is a silver lining in all of it. But yeah,
that was the NBA just saying, "Hey, someone's gonna kill Nico Harrison. We need to save him."
No.
They were gonna have that man by every appendage with horses.
With horses is crazy.
That's what they did. That's what they did. They were gonna brazen.
We gave you a compliment. Just when we gave you a compliment, you just had to take it too far. Just had to take it.
Tell me that they were going to kill Nico Harrison. That is not hyperbole.
I'm not combating that, but
if they didn't get Coop, they're like, where did Nico Harrison go 1 year later?
Where is he though? He didn't go anywhere.
He's somewhere low. He ain't coming out no time soon.
He's not taking photos where there are cameras. I know that.
No, that's a fact. More moves from Chicago that were shocking. Trading Kobe White and Mike Conley Jr., who we know is going to be re-signing with the Timberwolves now. But this trade was to Charlotte for Colin Sexton and Osmane Dieng and 3 second-round picks.
Yeah.
Kobe hasn't played in Charlotte yet. Colin has played for Chicago already. Honestly, wherever Colin Sexton plays, he plays hard. So I think he just always makes the most of his situation. But yeah, again, Chicago, they just started moving pieces, and I don't know what their long-term plan is here with this. But maybe this all looks different, by the offseason. Maybe there are some expiring contracts, and maybe they're just trying to open up as much space as possible. Who knows? But yeah, I was just very confused by what they were doing in general.
Yeah, they just blew everything up. Got rid of Herter, got rid of Vucevic that we talked about earlier. Brought in a ton of guards, which I knew somebody was going to be expendable, but sending Kobe White was the one that I didn't think that they'd do, but I guess it makes sense because he and Anthony kind of have like those similar motors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then but to bring in Colin Sexton, so it's weird. It's weird. That's a weird roster, and I would have to agree, Steve. Maybe there's some anticipation on off-season moves that we don't know about. So
bad.
Be seen. Bad ones.
No, I believe it. Another big trade, but confusing trade. The Warriors finally end this Jonathan Kuminga saga, and they trade him and Buddy Hield to the Hawks for Kristaps Porzingis.
Buddy was in that trade.
Yes, Buddy.
He wasn't even cracking the rotation, which was so odd to me.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, Steve Kerr is just an interesting human being to me.
I just want to say in that guard trade with Chicago, Minnesota got to steal an IO. That is all.
They did get a steal an IO. That's a great point. I really like IO over there for them. But yeah, thoughts on this Kuminga and Buddy Hield trade for Porzingis. I think this is a reach by the Warriors. Like the idea of Porzingis maybe pre-Boston or like the Boston version of Porzingis makes sense. And I get that this might have been a quick pivot from Giannis, because they weren't going to be able to get him. But just for somebody who's not available, I don't I get making the move to get off a player that doesn't want to be there and that you don't want, but this just feels more backwards than it even does feel lateral, at this point. But yeah, what was your reaction to this particular trade?
Yeah, it was shocking. I felt like a swing for the fences. Like maybe last minute, hey, we're willing to move off Kaminga. What's available? Oh, we've got Kristaps. Just another one of those situations where you trade availability for somebody who is not as healthy. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, that's tough. Because like I like the spacing idea. I like the concept. If this is 2K, it's a winning trade. But this is not 2K. And we do not know how often and how available KP will be. Um, Seeing that they were able to get KP for Kuminga and Buddy, I'm like, could they have looked at AD? Not that like the availability is any better, but to have like the possibility of having a center like that in a lineup like that,
But see,
they could have
AD,
did Buddy, Kuminga, and then maybe a Clay back. But I
yeah.
digress.
Only thing about that is AD always complains about being at the five spot.
You
So
have Draymond behind you. You have
yeah, he
Al.
probably would love to be in the five spot.
Yeah, like he's gonna be fine. Like, ugh, when big guys complain about I gotta be big.
Yeah, exactly. Could you imagine Draymond at five? Oh my
Oh
God.
Lord, Lord Almighty, I have to play against Yusuf Nurkic. Like you are a star. Like this is you were in those MVP talks for a reason. Like guard up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a overall wash until we see who they are, where they are. But Kaminga could be free to be the menace that he is in Atlanta next to Jalen and company. I think that just adds another layer of depth to their guard play out there. And, you know, what is Atlanta doing? I am intrigued.
Yeah,
Rooting for you, Jonathan, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun in Atlanta
They
next.
could be run in.
Exactly.
I
Just
didn't
let
like that they got rid of Cressy. I thought that was a weird move.
well, I'm not surprised at it because I feel like regardless of what they do with CJ, because I mean I don't see them re-signing him, but unless he came back on a vet man and just really wanted to be there. But I think they plan on giving the reins to Jalen Johnson, and I think he'll probably end up running a point to begin with. So they're kind of just trying this out and seeing how this is going to work, and they might go get another point guard that they like, whether it be a vet point guard or whatever the case may be in the offseason. But overall
Paul's
direction.
available.
I'm crying. Um, but even like during the no, not during the offseason, but I'm saying their direction in general, even what they did last offseason, I was impressed with. So whatever direction they moving in, whatever vision they trying to create, I like it. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but I like the way that they're moving. So that's that. I think the other probably like big major move and one that I didn't see coming for real was the Zubac trade.
That
Uh,
makes
Yeah.
that makes
I don't know what the Clippers are doing, but that's a great pickup for Indiana. I think they've been looking for this Miles Turner replacement, of course, and I mean for all intents and purposes, I mean Zubac is a great pickup, arguably, potentially, even considered an upgrade by some. And I wouldn't necessarily completely disagree with that. You know what I'm saying? But I think they're excited about what next year could look like, of course, when Halliburton is back. But yeah, I was really shocked to see the Clippers make this move. I don't get it. I don't understand. But I mean,
what
shout out
made
to
me this is what
I
made
just hate that. Oh, God.
no, after you.
No, I hate that Indiana had to come off of Matherin, but
I knew that he probably wasn't gonna get a starting spot there, so that's probably where they're like too
yeah.
crowded in that backcourt. But this is what made me devalue that Celtics Chicago trade a little bit, where it's like if I'm the Celtics, damn, that hurts. I just traded Anthony Simons for Nikola Vucevic, and Zubats is right there. Like
yeah. And if they were going to take Matherin, I feel like they would have took Simons. So
100%. Yep. And that's where I'm like, ooh, like that trade's kind of mid now. Like it's got an older version and more spacey version, but
I don't think Boston is going for youth though. I don't think Boston. I
Exactly.
don't think Boston was aiming for youth in that trade. Because who's to
I don't
say?
know why you don't though. Because are you
If
Well,
they,
in now
because if
mode?
they went for Porzingis, why is the goal to go for you? I think the idea there is Vucevic is a version of Porzingis that's more available, that can also pass the ball. Whereas when you look at Zubac, he's not going to pass the ball as well as Vucevic does. And to do that while stretching the floor, I think is a lot better when JT returns. You know what I mean?
they're going to want that space. They're going to still want to play
Exactly.
4 out, 5 out, basically, which you can
Yeah.
do with Vooch. And so while Zubac might be the player you take in general, it still depends on fit. I think Zubac makes a lot more sense for Indiana than he does for Boston. But also the way Boston has been moving, ain't no telling if Vucevic gonna be there next year. They might end up trading him
Yeah.
at a different piece. So I think they're just looking at it as a what makes sense right now. We'll see what this looks like for this season, and then we'll decide whether he kind of fits, the continuation of this window, or if we're gonna try to move him to get off that contract or get another piece or whatever the case may be. Because I think Boston's done a really good job of trying to make sure they have room to have Tatum and Brown with the contracts that they have them on and not be forced to like have to get rid of one of them. That's why you move on from Drew. That's why you move on from Porzingis. So like, if they got to cut money, they gonna cut money. Yeah, ain't gonna make them no never mind. But yeah, but I don't know. I like the Zubac trade again. I don't know what the Clippers doing. The West is already too packed, and I don't think they had a great shot anyway. And maybe something is coming down this Kawhi pipeline. That's a reach. I'm not saying I've heard anything substantial to that, but there could be something looming where it's like this team might essentially be getting blown up in some way, form, or fashion. But I digress. But those were pretty much all of like the major or like the big moves, I would say. There were a few more
Cam
people
Thomas bought out by the Milwaukee Bucks.
that I was gonna get to that, Miguel. I was gonna say we had some players that got bought out XYZ. And the Bucks did sign Cam Thomas, and it was funny that this was kind of something that was kind of being rumored. I think the Bucks were always interested in, if not Cam Thomas, somebody with his skill set. We've long needed another scorer. So I think in a situation with everything that has happened this year and, everything going on with Giannis and where the team currently stands, it definitely doesn't hurt. I don't know if this is long term yet, but I mean, scoring is something that we desperately needed, outside of Giannis. So we'll see what it bodes for this season. But I'm not mad at it as a buyout, pickup. We're not paying them a lot of money, so we'll see if it amounts to anything. But yeah, there's a few other players. I think Middleton might get bought out. Lonzo's probably going to get bought out. Like Chris Paul hasn't been bought out, but he hasn't been asked to report because he
Mhm.
got traded to the Raptors. So there are players, out there that still might find some new homes, but we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much the trade deadline. And to Miguel's point, very boneless. I mean, these are moves that are like, I guess, sure, if that's what you think is best, but I don't know if they'll amount to anything or if they're just moves that were made to have more flexibility come this offseason or just in the future in general. But that's kind of what it feels like.
Can CP make his way to Milwaukee?
I don't think he wants to, or else he probably would have been there.
Bring
Am I?
Chris Middleton back. Please bring Chris Middleton back. God
No, I think the Cam Thomas trade is really, really cool. If he could get back to those scoring ways, it's an upgrade from the Cole Anthony signing for sure.
Great point. Great point. And I'm interested to see what the Bucks do because I know they've been playing around with the starting lineup. Now, of
Mhm.
course, Giannis being out, so I'm not sure if Cam is best suited to start or come off the bench. But it'll be interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to see how hard we fight for this play-in win, or the way the play-in is even set up in the East. I mean, if you win enough games or go on a good enough run, you can jump from 10-6 with the
Mhm.
way the standings are. So we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much the trade deadline. Little caveat for Charlotte, something I saw post deadline. Apparently, Minnesota was trying to get LaMelo, but Charlotte didn't want to let go of LaMelo because they didn't want to break up their young core. I think Charlotte's found something. I've long been a fan of Charles Lee, so like I'm glad he got that opportunity, and it seems like he's building a culture there. But they do have some really good young talent, and I think people will start looking like Brandon Miller, if LaMelo can actually stay healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Miles.
Miles, and it's gonna be some people that might start looking there like, you know,
Yeah.
Charlotte might be cool. I could go play
One of
in
the
Charlotte.
blackest growing cities in America. Like,
Also
judge it.
very
Atlanta part 2.
yikes. Well,
Hey.
it tracks. It tracks as well. But yeah, other than that, trade deadline is interesting. We're reaching this all-star break. That's the last question I'll ask before we get out of here. As we enter this all-star break, what team has impressed you the most this like first part of the season?
I think the
I
Hornets.
don't want to be lazy, but recently it has been Charlotte.
They
I
once
just
they
gotta
found
be
that
honest.
last starting lineup, like
Hmm.
they've been hooping. They look like an organized unit, which we're talking
Yep.
about the Charlotte Hornets people.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Charlotte is up there. Toronto has surprised me.
Yeah, Toronto.
Um, I think San Antonio surprised me a little bit. Again,
Milwaukee for bad reasons.
again to the point. I thought San Antonio would be good. I thought they would take a step from last year, especially if Wemby played the whole year. But they're good. Like
That's
they're,
one of my preseason predictions.
I mean,
Hmm.
they have a chance to potentially be the one seed in the West. Like that's a
And I
legit
was talking about
possibility.
we were questioning if they were gonna be top four.
We were honestly questioning if they were going to be top six. We didn't even know if they were for sure going to be out the play-in.
I
I
know
did.
for sure we were wondering how would BI and all those wings look in Toronto.
Yeah, we were. We definitely were. So yeah, a lot of good surprises. I would say most teams that we expected to be good are good. Boston is a little bit surprising, but also not surprising from the standpoint of still having, most of their players and JB playing like a top player. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think we all know that the All-Star break serves as, really the kickoff and the catalyst for the playoff push and the end of the season where things ramp up. So it'll be very interesting to see post trade deadline, post All-Star break, how things line up for these teams and ultimately what the playoff bracket is going to look like come April. But I think this year determines a lot. I think how the playoffs go this year determines a lot of what this offseason will look like. So we shall see.
Just feels like no team feels complete. Like this is the most wide open I feel like the league has been. I don't have a favorite. I don't care who's won in what conference. Like I just don't have a favorite this season. Not yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think a large part of that is also we just don't know what the current like state of these teams like will look like come the playoffs as well. But no, you make a really good point because even out west, like the West is deeper and
Mhm.
has more teams that you can probably throw their names in the hat. But like I don't expect OKC to dog walk anybody, maybe in the first round, but it kind of all depends on how things pan out. But I don't think any series in the West will be a dog walk. I think all of them, 1 through 8 are going to be relatively tough. And I think teams are going to have to fight for their seeding, like always. So yeah, I'm with you on that. So it'll be really interesting to see. But yeah, yeah. But that's been it, man. That's been everything. I'm crying. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. But until then, until the next episode of the Right Quality Podcast, we'll catch y'all next time, man. Peace.